Hey everyone, it's Grandmaster Ben Finegold here with Kid Chess. And today I wanted to show a slightly different kind of video than I normally do. I wanted to show you a video from a game that I learned from. And when I say I learned from, there's two normal ways to learn in chess. One is you see something, then you try to replicate it in your game, so you win the same way you saw somebody else win. Another way, which I'm going to show you today, is where you take a similar position that looks like a position you've seen before, and now you play the winning move based on that. And that's really deep learning. If you can achieve that, then you too can become a grandmaster one day. So I want to start by showing you one of the most famous games ever, the opera game. But I'm not going to show you the whole game. I'm just going to show you the first few moves so I can show you what I learned from it. So the opera game, Paul Morphy's white, and he's playing two guys, and they're watching an opera. And they played the Philidor defense. And many of you have seen this game before, but some of you haven't. Bishop g4 is the first not best move. And they got to this position, which I'll quickly get to. And you guys should recognize this idea for white. White has the bishop on c4 and the queen on f3. And he's threatening queen takes f7 checkmate. A lot of you call this four-move checkmate or scholar's mate, which it could happen in four moves or be scholar's mate. This is just a different position, but it's the same threat. Okay, now here, black made another mistake. Probably black's only made one mistake so far. And what he needs to do is protect this pawn with his queen. And he could do that several ways. Queen d7, queen e7, queen f6. But instead, black chose to play knight f6, which normally would be the best move. You want to develop your knight so you can castle later, and you're blocking the queen. Okay, now in this position, white has a move that wins material. It wins something, and Paul Morphy found it, and he ended up winning the game in 17 moves with checkmate, and this is move 7. I'm not going to show you the rest of the game, just the next move. So in this position, this pawn's not defended, okay, because the bishop moved. And this pawn is attacked once and defended once. So Morphy found a way to attack this pawn and to attack this pawn again with another piece. And that was the winning move. Can you find that move where you attack this and you attack this pawn with another piece, not just the bishop? The answer is queen b3. Okay, and the queen attacks the pawn. And now we have a battery. The queen and bishop are attacking this f-pawn. Now, in the actual game, black played queen to e7, which is the best move. But I want to tell you a funny story. I mean, I'm here. I was once giving an exhibition where I played several people at once. And I actually got this position. And my opponent didn't see this move, which is winning for me. He saw that move. So he played b6, stopping me from taking his b pawn. And then I checked, and then checkmate. So proving I'm better than Morphy or something. Proving something. Okay, and this idea with queen b3, bishop c4, attacking on the diagonal and attacking on the file, that's what I wanted to teach you today. Because there's an opening trap that I've actually gotten to play twice, where I won the game, which was basically the same as this, but it was the other side of the board. It's the same opening trap. It's just the other side of the board. Okay, let's go back. So this turned out from a queen pawn opening, d4, d5. As I said, it was the other side of the board. Okay, and my opponents in the games I'm going to show you played the note boom variation, sort of a triangle here. Okay, now, most grandmasters will play knight to f3, getting their knight out. I played bishop f4. They take a pawn. They figure it's a free pawn. I play here, trying to get my pawn back. They defend the pawn. And I'm like, well, get your pawn out of there, a4. Okay, now, this position is very similar to another position. Okay, if we go back, if white plays knight f3, that's the most common move, we do the same thing, okay? And there's a lot of grandmaster games in this position, And the grandmasters always play bishop to b4. Okay, that pins the knight. The knight can't move. Otherwise, white would be attacking this pawn with his pawn and his knight, but the bishop is pinning the knight. So here, every grandmaster plays bishop b4. Okay, now, if we go back to the move that I play, I don't play knight f3. I play bishop f4. That's slightly different. Okay, and we get the same position. Now, it turns out bishop b4 is a mistake. If the knight's on f3, bishop b4 is the most common move. If the knight's not on f3, then you can't play bishop b4. But I've had this position, I think, 4 times in chess tournaments, in competitions, and 2 of my opponents have played that move. That's actually a very bad move. The reason is, after you trade pawns here, notice my knight's not on f3. My knight's on g1. So I can play queen f3. Obviously, I can't play queen f3 if my knight's there. And I'm threatening the rook. The rook can't move. Bishop b7 loses the bishop, and knight c6 loses the knight. However, my opponents saw queen f3, both of them, and they play queen d5. Notice my knight is still pinned. I can't take with the knight. And they thought that that saved them. However, they weren't as familiar with that Morphy opera game as I was. Remember that opera game I just showed you about 4 minutes ago? Okay, well, Morphy, when he played the winning move queen b3, where his queen was attacking this, and the queen and bishop was attacking this, I can do that now. I can't play queen b3, but I can go to the other side of the board. Do you see the move? Do you see the winning move for white? It's the same as the Morphy game, just the other side of the board. Queen to g3. Okay, so instead of my queen and bishop attacking this and my queen attacking this, it's the same thing. I'm attacking his knight and I'm attacking his g-pawn. And in fact, if he lets me take his g-pawn, his rook is trapped. He's going to lose his rook. So there's nothing he can do. He's either going to lose his rook. If he defends that pawn, I'll take his knight for free because my queen's backing it up. And in fact, in the 2 competitions I played in where I had this position, one of my opponents gave his rook away and the other opponent gave his knight away, and I beat them both. So I learned this queen g3 idea from the Morphy game. It was just the other side of the board. The queen is hitting this, and the queen and bishop are hitting this. And we can go back to that position once, so you remember right there. The queen and bishop are hitting this, and the queen is hitting that. Okay? And that reminded me of this position where I'm doing the same thing, just the other side of the board. And if you can learn like that, then one day you'll be a grandmaster too. I'm Grandmaster Ben Finegold with Kid Chess. Until next time, bye kids.